Henry was feeling worn out. The repairs on the viaduct forced him to try to make up for lost time in other places, in turn making Henry a constantly straining engine. Thomas, while slightly more sympathetic due to his own incident, was still cross over his upset timetable. I suppose I can understand the need for repairs, but why ever you can't just take another route is beyond me. It's the fastest way. Taking the loop line would be much longer. I thought Sir Topham Hatt's men worked wonders, but I'm just left wondering why it's taking so long. Henry could only agree. As the days went by, Henry began to rush more and more, and he felt worse and worse. He spoke to the Fat Controller about it. I just don't feel right anymore, sir. I thought I was fixed in crew. The Fat Controller smiled warmly. He knew the reason that Henry felt so bad was because of how rushed he was. What you need, Henry, he began, is an overhaul. The men at my works can get started on you tomorrow. Henry was grateful, but the same could not be said for James, and he made it very clear that night. He starts whining about how sick he feels and gets all the sympathy in the world, and I have to scurry across that viaduct just as much as he does. Where's my trip to the works, eh? Edward spoke up. You know Henry's had prior problems, James. Don't worry, I know you'll get your break eventually. But James didn't want to wait, so he made a plan. The next day, Henry was making his way to the workstation. He was feeling very happy. That was until he saw the viaduct come into view. He was slowly making his way across, when a workman halted him. Stop! We need to move something over the line immediately! Henry reluctantly stopped in his tracks. They waited and waited, till finally they were given the all clear. And with a toot of his whistle, Henry didn't move. He just kept hooshing steam. Well, that's torn it. Your regulator's jammed, exclaimed the driver. The fireman went back to call the previous station, where James was just about to leave. Henry stuck up ahead on the viaduct. The works isn't too far. Could you give him a push to there, James? What? Push tired old Henry and pull my train? What is this railway coming to? The guard blew his whistle, and James angrily set off. James came up behind Henry and gave him a bump. However, a sly smile struck his face. He was about to fulfill his plan. James heaved with all of his might and got the train moving. Henry tried to help as much as he could, but was severely outmatched by James, who was trying his absolute hardest. Soon enough, they got to the workstation. The Fat Controller was on the platform. Marvelous work, you two. James, could you please shunt Henry to the work shed? And don't you worry, as soon as Henry's out, I'll make sure you get a good fix-up too, James. Well, chortled Henry. Now what do you think of that? James could only smile.